We had our state cabinet meeting today, and broadly, we have touched on three subjects. One is the state implementation of the ILP regime. Another is the reservation policy for the backward classes. And the other is our ENPO's FNT matter. Broadly, these are the three subjects we have covered. As you know, it's been a while since the talk for reservation has been making the rounds. You have seen groups who have taken to the streets and have raised their anguish at the reservation policy. And you have also, you are in receipt of the memorandums submitted by the other underprivileged groups. It has appeared in yesterday as well as this morning's local paper. Excuse. So statements and counter statements, as is expected from both the parties, are on the government's table. Reasons differ. Some say it is too long. It's been 47, running 48 years after this policy came into being, and that it was time to review and rectify this policy and, if possible, to abolish completely and bring about a new system. The other group, their pertinent point and main stand is that in 48 years of reservation also, they have not been able to narrow down the disparity and the gap between the advanced and the backward groups. And so it should be continued. So there are conflicting views and opinions here. Anyway, the government's stand is neutral. We have to be receptive to all sections of our people. And as we continue living as a state and people together, we are bound to face these types of contradictory views and sometimes conflicting opinions like this also, which is quite natural anywhere in the world. But man is not born equal anywhere in the world. So governments all over the world, any popular, democratically elected government seeks for fairness, for justice, and equality in all their dealings and programs for their citizens. Here is where the government failed. That when the reservation policy was first conceived, the people, the leaders of yesteryears who have conceptualized this policy did so and implemented to bring every section of society at par, and equality will be carried forward. So the objective of this reservation policy if it is contested, should be viewed or reviewed from that angle as to whether this policy have achieved its desired goals and objectives. If we talk about length and duration, this country itself, now 78 years, the SDSC policies and the reservation for other backward classes, caste and citizens have not changed. There has been no reviews, no change as such, because there is still a very wide gap. So it continues. In our case, if the duration is to be looked at, it has, in 45 years, 48 years, it has still not achieved its desired objectives. So there are different opinions here, but the duration and the period should not be the basis upon which this reservation policy should continue or not. Nevertheless, since there are lacunae here in these reservation policies, certain rectifications have to be made. And in doing so, there are good reasons for the people who have raised the issue of reviewing it. There are also good reasons for the other people to try and defend that reservation should continue, because the statistics and figures speaks it out. And when we look at it, the 5 tribes who are protesting against the reservation accumulates for about 64% of the entire government employment figures. And the 10 backward tribes put together occupies about 34% of government employment ratio. So as per the given population ratio, employment ratio, there is still so much disparity. But in trying to rectify the minor as well as the major areas which have to be looked into again, as assured by the government, a commission is to be constituted, which will be called the Reservation Review Commission for this matter. And there had been discussion in the last cabinet also, and we have all agreed in principle that there will be a review. So this commission will be constituted as per today's decision of the cabinet. It will be headed by one chairman and 3 members, with 3 government officials. One is the HOD of the PNAR department, because it deals with this subject. The other would be from the Justice and Law Department. Not necessarily the HOD, but a representative. And the 3rd government officer will be on Justice, PNAR, the Home Commissioner of the state government. So these 3 will be the officials, and the chairman to spearhead this commission would preferably have to be a very high-ranking former Nagaland government official. So the choice is for the highest in status, And that responsibility has been left to our Chief Secretary and the officials who will examine the panel of names or the probable candidates to occupy this. And in consultation with our Chief Minister, they will finalize the name. The three other members would comprise of one from the Eastern Nagaland People Organization, ENPO block. One would be from the CNTC, Central Nagaland block. And, excuse me, one would be from the Teneme Union Nagaland block. So they will also not pick up on random, but they should be people who are experienced, who have served in high places in the state government, the center, and they should have enough experience and be men or women of integrity, and should be able to deliver justice while they discharge duties from this position. So these are the probable persons, and in all probability, the intention is not to let the three government officials be indigenous Nagas. We would prefer, the government would prefer a non-indigenous person and in serving a high-ranking government official from the three. But that is where we are. We have also outlined and approved the terms of reference which the Commission will be adhering to. And all other matters concerning suggestions by way of trying to rectify the governing rules of the reservation policy will be put forward and submitted to the Commission once it is installed. This Commission is given a period of 6 months, effectively, from the day that they are appointed. Subject to, of course, extension if the need arises. It can be. But that is how the Commission will continue to execute its duties, and they will submit their reports at the earliest possible date, and it will be taken up again by the Cabinet for consideration, review, whatever. And as far as the implementation is concerned, you know, the nation is heading for a census, also a caste census, with all other aspects of the Indian citizens' lives, from educational status to socio-economic status to everything that deals with our day-to-day lives, which is a tremendous exercise, I must say. It will be one of a kind, and I think this is only the 6th time that the nation is conducting since British India. That's prior to independence. So basing on this census, so many things will be decided in so many aspects of governance and the people's life, our destination, and what would await us. So we as a state of the Indian Union will have to walk in tandem with the central policy. So most probably, after the findings of the Commission also, we will take some time to observe the progress of the census of the country, and we would like to coincide our changes as per the census of the country, alongside with it. So that's one part of the reservation issue today. And other is our inner line permit implementation. It is a statewide exercise, but because of the influx and the looming threat more from our western borders, bordering Assam, the state as a whole, the people, the administration, and our CSOs are all focused on the western side of our state, with particular reference to Dimapur district, Chumukidima, and Newland. So everyone is on the vigil, and we're glad that at least on this important issue concerning our lives, our people and the government is in sync and working hand in glove to assist, complementing, supplementing, and being supportive in implementing this issue. So I must say, it's made a very big headway. We're very satisfied with the results. On a very short-term basis, the results that we are witnessing is highly appreciative. And inputs from the Home Department, especially, to the Cabinet is very impressive. So there are areas where we will have to slowly cover. I must say that it's making huge strides, and it is a success. The third point, our subject, is the FNTA. You have been hearing this for quite some time now, many years now, in fact. We are inching towards a final agreement or settlement, I must say. After all these years of it being wrapped under so much confidentiality, and only a certain very high privileged classes were having access to what was transpiring behind the screen, today government is in a position to share with our people not the final status still, but whatever points are important for our state and our people. You have to appreciate the fact that the state as such was not a party to the talk in the beginning. So this started in 2010. So for about 13 years, 13 years, we were in the dark. It was only a bilateral talk between the government of India and the ENPO. MHA comes straight to Mount Tuangsang. They go back straight to Delhi. ENPO goes straight to Delhi. And so the state was always sidelined. So all of us were equally curious and concerned to know what was the status of the talk. But you'll know only last year, I think I've shared with you that this would become a tripartite talk. So after it being, tripartite, trilateral, then only we're getting to get to know a little of what had happened in that more than 1 decade discussion and talks, and we are able to put in our suggestion, observations also. So it's just about a year that the state has come into the picture, and it's not very easy to make people roll back after they've gone so far and to restart again by streamlining, correcting, or by way of bringing out a new approach to anything. It's not easy. It's very time-taking. It's very tricky. So on their part also, both the parties, the MHA, Government of India, and the ENPO and LU, the leaders, they had also undergone a very strenuous time with so much exercises, having to recast on so many areas of their approach. And the government, the state as the third party, we had to be very cautious. And it ultimately falls on the head of the state, because the state's property is being bifurcated. Whether east or west, north or south, every inch is ours, of land is ours. The last person is a full-fledged bona fide citizen of our state. So here the state is dealing with its citizen and its boundaries, the geopolitics, the land. So when the state, the people of our state has reposed their faith and trust by way of giving the mandate into our palms, the state cannot be careless. Because the state makes a mistake, there's no one behind us to correct us again. So, very intricate, very sensitive, and we had to tread very softly and carefully. But today, we have made a considerable progress, and we are on the verge of finalizing everything. But all in all, everything is still under progress. So we're meeting at the time when everything is halfway, incomplete, and under progress. So I wanted to brief you and to let you convey to our people the latest position. Yeah.
Regarding the reservation issue, so you mean to say that though the commission is being formed, yet to be completely appointed also, but the ultimate thing will be that unless the census is done, it won't come into implementation.
Yes. Waiting for the census and then only starting will be delaying the process a lot. So we are already on the anvil of having that exercise. If I'm not mistaken, by the 31st of December this year, everything is set and it's going to start on the 1st of January, 2026. And now we are more than halfway across this year. That gives us about 2-3 months effectively. So our exercise will also have to start alongside that. So it will start, it will begin.
So is there a timeline set for the commission to submit the report?
Yes. 6 months we have given them, which is extendable if they so desire.
About the tribes being given the one each from the CNTC, the NTC, and ENPO, and the Tenime Union, they will be selecting by themselves, or how is it going to be?
Government does not want to meddle into the affairs of our people to that extent. It would seem very dictatorial. So that opportunity has been given to the blocks, the 3 blocks, consult among themselves and bring out the best person whom they feel should represent their block. That is where we are.
So till when are you giving them the time to appoint from their side?
So, say from tomorrow, you take 6 months.
No, but the representatives to come from the 3 organizations, because the appointment is not yet been done.
Yes. So from tomorrow, you say, now that we have decided today, from tomorrow let the exercise begin among the 3 blocks. The earlier, the better. The earlier, the better. Well, I don't think that will take too much time.
But the 6 months will count from today.
From the day that the order of the Constitution is made. The order of that day. With effect from that day, 6 months.
So with regard to ENPO, the 23rd July meeting, the tripartite meeting, the Union Home Secretary had asked the Nagaland representatives of the Nagaland government to make their stand clear on some issues. within a fortnight. So that 2 weeks, I think it ends today. So what are some of the disagreements from the government side to the demands of the ENPO?
Uh, many points, many pertinent points have come to light only today. All these documents, as I said, were not accessible to many of us over all these years. So finally, when it was brought to the table of the cabinet, we had deliberated thoroughly today. That's what took us a lot of time, and we have exchanged our views on many points, and we have decided that if possible, the entire cabinet should go to Delhi once to meet the Home Ministry. There are several areas where we would like more clarification. The NLU was there, many of them. They were also, unfortunately, they were also, I think, kept at bay. They were also not taken into the mainstream discussion for quite a long time. So we were all equally a little confused on certain points. So we have to hear it from the horse's mouth. We have to hear it from the horse's mouth. So in all probability, we'll be making a trip to New Delhi.
So, sir, just 2 points. Is it true that there will be a new clause under Article 370 for the ENPO? And secondly, with regard to the proposal of the NLU for the appointment of ex-officio, so has that been declined, or just the voting rights will not be given to the ex-officios?
Come again, please. Article.
Is there going to be a new article under a new clause under Article 370 for the creation of FNTA, and also whether the proposal of the NLU for ex-officios, appointment of ex-officios, has that been rejected, or just that the ex-officios would have the voting rights?
Yeah. That was a major cause of concern. That point dealing with a new article. So, whereas all the while we have been made to understand, you have gone on record also, and ENPO, that it will be under, whatever entity is worked out, it will be under Article 371A. So that is meaning to say there will be no bifurcation of the state as a whole. It will be a component within the 371A, the state. But today, one corner of our deliberation more or less started implying that there would be a new article. And it's supposed to have been a suggestion made by people at the center. So that is one reason why we want to hear it from the horse's mouth. Because voting rights, ex-officios, 40-something members of the regional council, the sitting present 20 legislators, or the government nominees, and so many other things, all other things rather, will depend on the status of the new entity, the FNT. Whether it will be a component arranged from within the 371A, or will they be given a new article? So it makes a world of difference, and completely different. Supposing it becomes Article 371K, for example, because A to J you already have Northeastern state and Maharashtra and others. Manipur, Assam is B, Manipur is C, Mizoram is D, Sikkim is E, and so on and so forth. Other states also. Arunachal is F, H, I, J. Now, if they say that this new entity will be Article 371K, that would mean that something out of 371A is born. And it's no more a part of A because it's got a new chapter. Then that would mean a world of difference, and there will be, in fact, the state would have nothing to do with it anymore. So, before we proceed further, I think there are certain areas like that which we have to ascertain. And ENPO never meant that they would go out of A and Lu, or nobody ever said that. So what we intend to, but what is actually taking place should not contradict each other. That would be catastrophic for us. So things like that.
My last question. So
Yeah.
I suppose what we could understand is that the state government is not agreeable to this very particular proposal put forward by the center. That's one. And the second question is, I always keep asking, is the state government agreeing to the financial, apart from the legislative and executive, is the state government agreeable to the demand of the ENPO for financial autonomy?
Others are minor, whether it be judiciary, finance, administration, legislation. Others are all minor. The state has no objection. What the state and the people are concerned is whether we are going to be bifurcated by way of giving them a new article. Whether 371A is going to be again under scrutiny of the parliament, which we have a lot of apprehensions, our people, and would not like to let it go to the floor of the House again. So, Article 371B, like Assam, they already have two autonomous councils, Karbi Anglong, Bodoland. B has never been bifurcated. Neither a new article has been born out of it also, and it remains intact, whereas the components has been fitted within it. Why can't we have something like that? This is just to clear our doubts. Other things are all negotiable. It's within us only that we will be hammering out. So it's not a problem. Okay?
Sir, why do you think that the state is not being included in the talks in the first place? Do you think this is a tactics by the center to create division between the lines?
You have every right to be apprehensive of that. And I must say that there was a huge suspicion on the center's intention, all the while. Only after last year they included the state as a third party. Now those doubts are receding. Otherwise, center's intention and motive was questionable. So today, I would allay the fears of our people and reassure our people. If this area of doubt, where we want to go and clarify, is made known to us, that it would be only a component within 371A, and we will work out the other details from within this, then their motive and their intention is positive. It's not like that's how we suspect.
So is it questionable now, since it was the center who had proposed for the creation of a new article? Also keeping in view of the ongoing Naga political issue.
See, as far as we know, I don't think the center also had such a motive. We have not had access to the blueprint and the documents, but we do hear time to time. At no point of time did the center also indicate such an intention, nor our ENPOs who ever thought that such a thing was possible. They didn't even think of it. But this is something which just propped up today in a discussion. And it appears to be a suggestion made or some idea being mooted by, but it is central, center-oriented. So we'll just discuss more on it and to make sure so that we will be confident when we take every step in trying to resolve this issue.
So when are you likely to, is the cabinet, entire cabinet, when is it likely to go to the list and initiate this matter?
The earlier, the better, but responsibilities, so many has to be discharged before entire cabinet moving is not a joke, so we'll have to see, but at the earliest possible. Maybe right after our Independence Day program, when everyone goes and come back to station, we can discuss.
So regarding the ILP issue, so because now, as you have already said, that the COSOs and the villages, student bodies are also cooperating with the government, and they themselves are checking their ILPs now in many areas. But the main concern here is they have got so many without proper ILP, without proper documents already circulating there, and they have even kept them on hold. So what is the government going to do with them? Those who have been caught without ILP, and the students are saying that they will hand it over to the administration. What kind of steps are you going to take?
Everything is just starting to coordinate. We did not have a set of rules which were framed from few years back that suddenly, as the cabinet decides to implement it, this mechanism will start functioning automatically overnight, You must also appreciate the fact successive governments, ever since the inception of our state in 1964 till 2019, or this government, they were handicapped. Handicapped why? Because the ILP regime born out of the 1873 Bengal Eastern Frontier Regulations Act was not incorporated into the Constitution of India until December 2019, only after the President of India gave the assent. It became a law, a full-fledged law. Let's travel back to history. After all, everything is connected there. We'll not go beyond 1947. I've already wrote a small book on the history of our inner line permit regime, dating back to 1873. Now it came about, British India. You can read through it. But this policy was implemented during British India. And in 1947, on the eve of India being given its independence, on the eve of the Englishmen and the British government leaving the continents of India, you are familiar with the 9 Points Agreement. Sometimes it's called the Sir Akbar Hyder Agreement, in between the NNC and Sir Akbar Hyder, who was the governor of then Assam province, the combined northeast, as the representative of India, 3 months before India's independence. In June 1949, they met, and the 9 Points Agreement was worked out, where several points are there, but this 1873 was the point number 9, which they asked to the government of India that in the changeover of powers and India being a full-fledged nation, this should be incorporated into the Constitution and should continue in these areas where it is implemented. Unfortunately, after 3 years, when the new Constitution of India was drafted in 1950 by the Constituent Assembly, it never found a place in the new Constitution. It was removed. So, and it existed only as an ordinance, an executive law, an executive order, I mean. So again, in 1960, when the Naga People's Convention went for the 16 points agreement, which gave birth to our state, in point number 16, this same 1873 Bengal Eastern Frontier ILP was mentioned as one of the demands. But in December 1962, when Jawaharlal Nehru, the then Prime Minister, brought into the Parliament for enactment of the 16 points, only 4 points were there. And this was not incorporated. It still remained as an ordinance. So there's a huge difference between an enacted law by the Parliament, which is full-fledged law, and an ordinance, which is a presidential decree issued by a government cabinet order, which can be removed overnight. So the state government was handicapped in implementing it. And every now and then, government of the days in the center used to give directives to the state government. Do this, don't do this. Cover Dimapur, don't cover Dimapur. All these sort of things. So under such kind of directives, the successive governments could not really implement it with full spirit and determination. But in that last 9th amendment of the Principal Citizenship Act, on December 11th in the Lok Sabha, 12th in the Rajya Sabha, the Parliament enacted it and inserted a new section called Section 6B, wherein 4 clauses were there, and this inline permit, Bengal Eastern Frontier 1873, figured as per the Home Minister's assurance to our delegation. It was really there. So it was enacted, and now it is incorporated into the Principal Citizenship Act of India. It is a full-fledged law. Immediately, Government of Manipur implemented in 2020, January, and in 1 month's time, they could realize 1 crore rupees from ILP fees. You see, all depends on the state government's determination. So in our case, it took some time to roll out a policy and a mechanism. And lately, the Home Department and our Police Department, administrative officers and their subordinate colleagues are all struggling to put things together to make it function smoothly. And so, to start with, we have a Cabinet Subcommittee on the Inner Line Permit Regulation. We have said 2-3 times, and to start with, we have categorized, put different people under different categories with which the government administration and district executive forces should start implementing. You have seen it now. So instead of nothing like before, after having removed all checkposts also, so much thoroughfare was there, but now slowly but surely things are being put in place, and with the added assistance and support, participation of our civil societies and the general public, I think we are making a very big headway here. My last request is that the people of our state, let us not take law into our hands, and let us not be vindictive, let us not be too strict and stringent, and know how to implement this law, use it in a reasonable way. The consciousness has dawned on our people, which is itself a very big success, and we have identified that unless we use these provisions, our land and our people will not be protected. So it is our request that not everybody should start masquerading as law enforcement agents, but look to the right authority and only continue to assist. Assist means not the executors, to assist in every way. So we will work. Your suggestions are still welcome on all fronts. Thank you.